We've got a big low coming in from the Tasman Sea this week. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our weather outlook for the next week ahead, right through until Sunday. But we kick off with Monday's animated wind map, and after a windy weekend, the winds have eased right around the country. There's still a bit of a southerly flow around the outer edges of the east, a little bit breezy in some of the coastal zones, and slightly cooler as well if you're in that breeze, even though the sun is out. The clouds are going to thicken. Here is the low starting to form. It's going to rapidly form over the next 24 hours. It's got a good subtropical feed coming in on one side and a southerly feed up the other side. The perfect recipe to spin a low. We've got a bit of rain coming over the next week. Now, apologies, I don't know why the key today is looking a bit strange, but you can't quite read the numbers as clearly as usual. So the area to look for is in these bright blue zones. You can see a few of them across the north and one up here around Nelson. That's getting up over the 100 millimetre mark. So 100 millimetres, some of you 120 millimetres in the next 7 days. That's about a month's worth of rain in some areas falling in a week. So very good news. Now around Auckland, it's a 50-50 setup. The further north you go and the further south you go, the lower the rainfall totals will be. The biggest rain coming through central New Zealand. That's the lower half of the North Island and the upper half of the South Island. That's where the low itself will come in on Wednesday. So the rainfall totals are big in this area, but the further north you go, Waikato in that pink zone, a lot of pink around Manawatu as well, that is anywhere between 40 and about 60 or 70 millimetres of rain. Now that's very good, but it's not enough really for Auckland if we're getting into that borderline area. The further north you go into the Auckland region, only 30 millimetres coming for northern areas. So it really does change quite dramatically in a short distance. The areas in yellow, that's not much, anywhere between just 5 and maybe 15 millimetres of rain up here in the very north and northeast. Also down here in Southland, Otago, Banks Peninsula, and also the very eastern side here, rainfall totals are between 20 and about 40 millimetres for you. That's the next 7 days ahead. So this is how we look on Tuesday. There's that low, 992 hectopascals. It's deepening still. The rain is fairly light because you've got high pressure right next door, so fairly calm to start with, but as the day wears on, those northerlies ramp up quite quickly towards the end of the day, and the rain gets heavier towards the end of the day. Cloudy with a few drizzly patches and showers further down the rest of the country. On Wednesday, in comes the low, but it's already starting to weaken. So it peaks very quickly on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, 997 now, starting to weaken as it moves in. Heaviest rain in central areas. That's from about, Lake Taupo down to about Kaikoura, that area most exposed to the heavy rain, and also some of the strongest winds pushing in to the upper South Island, which means the west coast up around Westport, Greymouth, you might get some blustery easterlies. And in the north around Auckland, the nor'westers pick up, they get up to gale force at times in exposed areas on Wednesday. Low risk maybe of a few power cuts here and there if the tree branches start to break, which is possible on Wednesday, but borderline. It's not exactly a big storm, it's just a low coming in wrapped around with high air pressure. Here's the wind map for Wednesday. It shows you the middle part of the low being stretched out. That spreads the energy into a larger area, but the biggest winds look to be just out at sea and pushing into Waited Upper, Cook Strait, Marlborough Sounds area, and then you've got that other version, the nor'westers at the north. They don't look quite as bad as those winds do that are out at sea, and if you're down in Southland and Otago, not much going on. So let's move through the week. Thursday, the low moves out to the east over the Chathams and falls apart even further. We've got a few showers and a southerly flow on the east, and sou'westers a little blustery at times around Auckland and exposed areas. On Friday, those winds continue. Blustery in Auckland, maybe again getting closer to gale force in some marine areas, but it's not problematic. We're not expecting really many issues from this, but it will be windy. It looks fairly dry though, so that's the positive. In Wellington, the southerly blows through. Hopefully the sun might start to come out a little bit for you, and windy, colder southerlies around the South Island to end the week. Now this weekend, Saturday, it warms back up in the south. Winds coming out of Sydney, out of New South Wales, actually coming out of Queensland, drifting down and across. So windy westerlies and northwesterlies return in the south on Saturday, lifts your temperatures up. The winds are lighter and calmer in the north under high pressure for Saturday. And then we go to Sunday, the high goes further to the north, and back come those typical spring westerlies. It'll be blustery, maybe gale force in some areas. There might be some wind warnings issued on Sunday. Part of the reason we're seeing this is because the Southern Ocean is much stormier than usual. Bit of a polar vortex going on at the moment. That basically means the tight winds that wrap around Antarctica, they're not so tight at the moment. They're kind of getting a bit loose, and they're firing north out of the Southern Ocean area and coming into the New Zealand area. So we're getting a little bit of a taste of September, October weather right here in the final days of November. That's all from me. For more details, drill down with our hourly forecast at Weather Watch. Now includes cloud cover in those hourly forecasts. Plus, go to ruralweather.co.nz if you really want to get into the details. I'm back again on Tuesday with our next update.